Vision doesn't necessarily mean decisive victory. The whole mission of Muhammad was based on a just intent theory, restoring peace to the conflicting souls, creating a peaceful society out of barbarism, paganism, and inhumanity as he did in Arabia, restoring comfort in the lost minds, shedding light in the dark societies, and relieving the unstable community from tension, as he did in Medina. Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, decided to leave Mecca because the Meccan chiefs had taken action to kill him at his home, and the decision was reinforced by the need of the Medina communities, made easier by the second pledge of Aqaba, made a year before on the occasion of the annual rites of pilgrimage. The pledge was made by 73 men and 2 women of Khazraj and Aus communities of Medina. They had accepted Islam and wanted to invite the Prophet to migrate to Medina. Their motivation for this move, apart from recognizing him as the Prophet, the trustworthy and the best in conduct in Mecca, was to bring peace and security between the Khazraj and Aus. They were often at war with each other, and the Battle of Bu'ad had shattered their strength completely. They desperately needed a leader who could be trusted by both communities and bring peace in Medina. As part of the pledge, they were to protect the Prophet as they would protect their women and children if he were attacked by the Meccans. Be that as it may, the few Muslims who had not migrated to Medina were in hell. The Quraysh, having noticed Muhammad's acceptance by the Medinites and his growing popularity, took up the persecution of the few remaining Muslims in Mecca in every possible way. Provocative actions continued, and Quraysh sent the Muslims a note threatening to put them to death in their own homeland. Those were not mere words, for the Prophet ﷺ received information from reliable sources attesting to real intrigues and plots being hatched by the enemies of Islam. Precautionary measures were taken and a state of alertness was called for, including the positioning of security guards around the house of the Prophet, peace be unto him, and strategic junctures. At this precarious juncture, with Quraysh intent on pursuing their aggressive and devilish plans, the just cause measure has to take place. Standing against the threats, seek freedom to live and defend self from deprivation. Lawful declaration was given by Allah, the highest authority, to Muslims to go for the last resort, war, the permission to take arms against the disbelievers. Quran chapter 22, verse 39 declares, وَزِنَ لِلَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَ بِأَنَّهُمْ ظُلِمُوا وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى نَصْرِهِمْ لَقَدِيرٌ. Permission to fight is given to those, that is, believers against those disbelievers who are fighting them. And because the believers have been wronged, and surely Allah is able to give them, believers, victory. The permission to fight was already there, but in the light of the status quo, it was wise for the Muslims to bring the commercial routes leading to Mecca under their control. To realize this strategic objective, the Prophet, peace be unto him, had to choose either of 2 options: entering into non-aggression pacts with the tribes inhabiting either the areas adjacent to the routes or between these routes and Medina. With respect to this course of action, the Prophet, peace be unto him, had already signed together with the Jews and other neighboring tribes, the aforementioned pact of cooperation and good neighborliness, or dispatching successive armed missions for harassment along the strategic commercial routes. With a view to implementing these plans, the Muslims commenced real military activities, which at first took the form of reconnaissance patrols delegated to explore the geopolitical features of the roads surrounding Medina and others leading to Mecca, and building alliances with the tribes nearby. The Prophet wanted to impress upon the polytheists and Jews of Medina, as well as the Bedouins in its vicinity, that the Muslims had smashed their old fears and had been too strong to be attacked with impunity. He also wanted to display the power of his followers in order to deter Quraysh from committing any military folly against him, which might jeopardize their economic life and means of living, and to stop them from persecuting the helpless Muslims detained in Mecca. Consequently, he would avail himself of this opportunity and resume his job of propagating the divine call freely. Quraysh began to realize the real danger that Medina could present with. They came to know that Medina had always been on the alert, watching closely their commercial caravans. It was then common knowledge to them that the Muslims in their new abode could span and extend their military activities over an area of 300 miles and bring it under full control. However, the new situation borne in mind, the Meccans could not be deterred and were too obstinate to come to terms with the new rising power of Islam. They were determined to bring their fall by their own hands, and with this recklessness they precipitated the great battle of Badr. The Muslims, on the other hand, and at the behest of their Lord, were ordered to go to war and fight in the way of Allah, those who fight you, but transgress not the limits. Truly Allah likes not the transgressors, and kill them wherever you find them, and turn them out from where they have turned you out. And al-fitna, polytheism or calamity, is worse than killing. And fight not with them at al-Masjid al-Haram, the sanctuary at Mecca, unless they first fight you there. But if they attack you, then kill them. Such is the recompense of the disbelievers. But if they cease, then Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful, and fight them until there is no more fitna, disbelief and worshipping of others along with Allah. And all and every kind of worship is for Allah alone. But if they cease, let there be no transgression except against az-zalimin, polytheists and wrongdoers. Holy Quran chapter 2 verses 190 to 193. Before long, Allah again sent the Muslims a different sort of verses, whereby teaching them ways of fighting, urging them to go to war, and demonstrating relevant rules. So when you meet in fight, jihad in Allah's cause, those who disbelieve smite at their necks till when you have killed and wounded many of them. Then bind a bound firmly on them, that is, take them as captives. Thereafter is the time either for generosity, that is, free them without ransom, or ransom, according to what benefits Islam, until the war lays down its burden. Thus, you are ordered by Allah to continue in carrying out jihad against the disbelievers till they embrace Islam.